We wanted to assure our viewers that we are taking all of the appropriate precautions handed down by our administration, the school board, the state of New Hampshire, and the Center for Disease Control. Although I am not currently wearing my mask, there are no other students or staff members in my vicinity. Although the green screen may make it look like we are right next to one another, I can assure you that's not the case. And that's the magic of television. My fellow anchors and reporters are safely 20 feet away.
That was a very now on sports with Olivia Drapo.
Welcome back to Today's Sports. We have 2 weeks of sports to cover today as we didn't have a show last week. Over the last couple weeks in middle school sports, the boys traveled to Lisbon and won 3-0. The teams hosted Profile. The girls lost 1-0 and the boys won 2-0. The girls traveled to Haverhill for their final game and lost 3-0. And the boys will be hosting Lisbon tonight at 4 for their final game. The cross-country team hosted Profile. For middle school girls, Maisie Anderson placed second and Isabel Smith placed third. For varsity girls, Anna Harvey placed fourth with a personal record, and Britta Robertson placed sixth. For varsity boys, AJ Vecchione placed first, and Mihaly Sorgiadakis finished in fourth. Yesterday, the team traveled to Profile for their divisionals race. For middle school girls, Maisie placed first and Isabel placed second. For varsity girls, Anna placed third and Britta placed fifth. And for varsity boys, AJ placed first and Mihaly placed fourth. Now on to varsity soccer. The varsity soccer teams traveled to Lisbon. The boys lost 3-2 and the girls lost 4-2. They then traveled to Groveton, where the girls lost 4-3 and the boys won 3-1. Then on to Woodsville. The boys lost 1-0, and unfortunately, the girls' game was rained out and canceled. This week, Lin-Wood hosted Groveton for senior night. The boys won their game 6-0 and the girls tied theirs 2-2. After the games, the 13 senior athletes were honored with speeches from the underclassmen. Yesterday, the soccer teams traveled to Profile for their final regular season games. The girls lost 7-0 and the boys lost 4-3. Next week, the varsity teams will be hosting home playoff games. The girls will be playing on Tuesday at 3 o'clock against Lisbon, and the boys will be playing on Wednesday at 3 against the winner of a game between Lisbon and Woodsville. Masks will be required for these games for all spectators. Best of luck to our teams.
I hope to see all of you next week at these monumental home games. The girls are hosting for the first time in 16 years, and the boys are hosting for the first time in 6. Next up, we will have another myth. It's All Greek to Me with Emma McNamara.
Welcome back to It's All Greek to Me. I'm Emma, and the myth we're talking about today is the time Sisyphus captured death. Here are the characters we need to know. First off, Sisyphus. Sisyphus was one of the many kings featured in Greek mythology, and he had no plans for trivial things such as dying or death. And second off, we have Thanatos. Thanatos was the god of death, not the god of the dead. That was Hades. Thanatos was the one in charge of making sure souls got to the underworld eventually. And this story starts, as frankly more should, with Thanatos showing up to bring our protagonist down to the underworld. But the gods already knew that Sisyphus was a handful, so they sent Thanatos prepared. They gave him magic chains to capture Sisyphus. Upon his arrival, Sisyphus thought of a plan. He asked Thanatos to see these magical chains because they were crafted oh so wonderfully. And then he took the chains, pulled an Uno reverse card, and shoved Thanatos in a box. With death at a standstill, the gods decided they needed to find Thanatos. Because, war's not war without the casualties. And because there were no protocols for these type of things, it took the gods an entire month to check Thanatos' last known location. So the gods eventually checked Sisyphus' palace, probably on pure coincidence, and they found Thanatos locked up in a box, took Sisyphus, and brought him to the underworld. But it's not even over yet. Sisyphus has told his wife not to complete his funeral properly by not placing a gold piece under his tongue. So upon his death, Sisyphus went over to Persephone and cried, "My wife didn't give me a proper funeral. My marriage is sad. Let me go fix it." And since Persephone is very, very nice by nature, she sent Sisyphus back up to the overworld to go arrange a proper funeral proceedings, and make sure he made it to the underworld right this time. But obviously, Sisyphus had escaped death. He's not going back down there. And Thanatos refused to go get him, for pretty obvious reasons. So, Sisyphus just got to hang around for a while, wait for death to claim him at a very, very old age, and then eventually he went to the underworld, where he woke up surrounded by an angry Hades and a very annoyed Persephone. So these two gods destined Sisyphus to push a boulder up a hill, and every time it would reach the top, it would roll right back down. Forever.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
What a lovely PSA. Now into what went down in the world this week with Shanna Drapo.
Welcome back to What Went Down in the World This Week. I'm Shanna Drapo, coming to you with current events from this week and last week when we didn't have a show. The second presidential debate, originally scheduled for October 15th, was canceled last week due to President Donald Trump's positive COVID-19 test. This year will be known as having the least amount of presidential debates since 1996. The final presidential debate took place last night. And now for our weekly good news. The popular worldwide furniture company, IKEA, has announced that they will be buying back used furniture to become more sustainable and have a more circular economy. This deal will be effective in 27 countries, but currently does not include the United States. And that's a little bit of what went down in the world these past couple weeks. Have a great day.
Shanna, now we have a new wacky word from Jillian Clark.
Hello, I'm Jillian Clark, and welcome back to Wacky Words. Today's word is perfactory. Perfactory means to carry out carelessly or with a lack of effort. Synonyms include careless, headless, or indifferent.
Perfactory has been common use in the English language since the 16th century.
Perfactory is derived from the Latin word peractori, meaning careless. For example, the student's perfactory presentation looked as though he only took 20 minutes on it.
This has been Wacky Words. Have a great week.
What a fun new word. Come join us for our 14th annual Pumpkin Run, taking place at the Hobo Railroad this year on October 30th. Runners will begin at 6 o'clock and walkers will be staggered. Make sure you place your lit pumpkins along the route before 5:45. Bring canned goods, grab your pumpkins once you finish. Don't forget to wear your scariest mask at the start and finish. And finally, be aware there are no indoor facilities available for you.
That will be an exciting event. On Wednesday, Lin-Wood hosted their 57th annual National Honor Society ceremony. 5 seniors were inducted this year: Jacob Morris, Silas Whedon, AJ Vecchione, Olivia Drapo, and myself. Although the induction ceremony typically takes place in the spring, it was unable to happen at that time due to the pandemic. There will also be another ceremony later this year. Juniors and seniors are eligible to apply for National Honor Society. after third quarter if their grades are above a 3.5 GPA. In the spring of 2021, those students will be inducted. Footage from this year's induction ceremony, as well as an interview with Osceola's chapter's advisor, Mrs. Parent, will be included in next week's episode, so stay tuned.
Congrats to all of the new inductees. Now we have an update on our Veterans Day Assembly.
What are some
Veterans Day
challenges
Assembly
you've
has been
encountered
something
while
very
creating
special
a
for decades
virtual
now. With COVID-19, we are unable to have the assembly in person this year. Mrs. Hood is here to tell you more. To watch our virtual Veterans Day Assembly, tune in to the Kanc Connection next month. Enjoy!
What are some challenges you've encountered while creating a virtual assembly?
Okay, well, I think the biggest challenge was the fact that it has to be virtual, because this is my favorite event that we do at Lin-Wood, because we honor our veterans, and the hardest part is going to be not to be able to see them in person. That's one of the best things, I think, of our assembly.
What are some similarities and differences that the assembly will have?
So we're going to try to capture the essence of the assembly without making it as long as the actual assembly would be. We still want to introduce the veterans and their service records. We will keep the candle lighting, the parade of flags. We're going to have students speaking, because the second most important part of this is the student participation, veteran participation being the first. So we're going to try to keep it as similar as we can.
And as you explained, it's going to look different, but are we still going to have like the run through of veterans and stuff like that?
What we're hoping to do, and this is where we really need help and we need people to get the word out, we would like to gather photos of our veterans. It can be photos of during their time of service. It can be a recent photo. It can be as simple as a wave on their iPhone. They can say hello. And then we would want their service information as well. And I believe the way it's going to be put together is Mrs. King will introduce them, just as she always does, as their photo comes up in their service record. That's what I'm hoping, because it's very important that we say thank you for your service and that we honor the veterans and their time they gave us.
We thank Mrs. Hood for working hard to keep that tradition going. Before we end our show, producing theater in a pandemic is difficult, and Jean's Playhouse wants to continue their tradition of putting on a holiday show. As much as they know, the community has enjoyed it, this annual event, but in order to produce the show, advance ticket sales are essential. So if you love Christmas, classic Christmas tales, and a good time, please be sure to show your support by buying your tickets in advance by visiting their website at www.jeansplayhouse.com. November 11th will be the deciding day. If Jean's does not receive enough pre-sales, they will not be able to produce the show. Customers will be notified and receive a full refund, so spread the word and get your tickets today. Also, thank you everyone who's contributed to the Medivivor fundraiser this week. This concludes our show for today. We love to hear from the community with story ideas. Please email us at tv.lin-wood.com. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe, and then share it with all your friends. On behalf of the entire Kanc Connection team, we wish you a restful weekend, and we hope to see you next week. Have a great day, everyone!